Let's call to order the September meeting for the Fargo Public Library Board of Directors. Looking at our agenda here, we need to approve the order of the agenda.
Move to approve.
I was going to see who's here
Oh.
first real quick. So real quickly, if we could just find out who's in attendance and on the phone. So I'll call roll real quickly. Carlos,
I'm here.
Rachel,
I'm here.
Whitney,
I'm here.
Kristen Shipper,
Here.
Jenna Reno,
Here.
Carrie Peterson,
Here.
and I am here as well. Did I miss anyone? Okay, so that we have a quorum. If we could get a motion to approve the order of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody opposed. Next item, if we could, let's see, take a look at the minutes of the August 17th meeting. And is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Chris Shipper, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, let's go ahead and move to staff reports.
Hello. You have my report in your packet, but I know it just went out last Wednesday. It is out of date. So, after talking with the Public Health Department, the Children's Department decided to switch the first session of Fall Storytime to virtual only. That session started yesterday and lasts the next 5 weeks. The dates and times are the same, but the Children's Department sends out links instead of having them in person. They hope to be in person for the second session, but they'll be keeping an eye on numbers. The in-person sessions of Crafternoons for next week are canceled. There's still a take-home option for people to register online. They were hoping to start in person on October 4th, but I got an email right before I came over here that they are going to delay that until November. So through October, people can register online and do a take-home craft option. Outdoor children's events like the Fall Festival are still going ahead and most likely won't change, being outside. For teens, they have canceled their in-person programs for September and are not going to have programs in October either. Those staff members are hoping for programs again in November, but again, watch for numbers and follow directions from public health. As of right now, adult events are all still happening. All programs, regardless of type, now have registration in place so that if anything does need to change or go virtual or be canceled, we can contact patrons and let them know. I want to highlight a few events, mostly related to the One Book, One Community program that the Fargo Public Library participates in, along with the Moorhead and West Fargo Public Libraries and the College and University Libraries. So the title this year is Everything You Wanted to Know About Indians But Were Afraid to Ask by Anton Troyer. He's a professor of Ojibwe at Bemidji State. He's visiting October 26th for an author event that's going to be held at Concordia. We'll be discussing his book at the meeting of the Diverse Perspectives Book Club in October. One of our other book clubs, Tea Time, is discussing a related title, There by Tommy Orange. Another event we're hosting is a panel of experts discussing American Indian boarding schools and how they affected Indigenous communities. That event is next Wednesday at 6:30 at the main library downtown. On October 9th, there's an event for families with Native American stories and music with Mandan Hidatsa storyteller and musician Keith Bear from Fort Berthold. Right now, that event is still happening. They're talking to Keith to see if they want to move that event outside. For community engagement events, staff at the MSUM library have invited us to have a table to sign their students up for public library cards for library card sign-up month. So there are a couple of staff members going there tomorrow afternoon. We're also going to be at the Red River Market October 2nd with information about the library and make and take crafts. And lastly, I mentioned in my report that Jazz into Fall was starting again. We're going to have that in person on Sundays in October. We have the first couple bands set for October 3rd. It's Nate Dickey and the Skipjacks. October 10th, John Peterson Quintet. And October 17th, Dave Ferreira and Friends. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, thank you for being adaptive and continuing to adjust in even the last week. Let's see, turning to the director's report, Tim.
Right. Per your packet, you have my report. Just to follow up on some comments from Megan in terms of COVID-19 update in terms of the library. You heard kind of the adjustments for the programming. Certainly, the staff masking policy is still in place per the city. The good news is currently no staff are currently impacted, nor family members. So we have everybody available for scheduling, which is good. Again, per your packet, you can see my report. Quarterly meetings with department heads, you can see that listed there. Other partnering meetings, you can see those. I met with the city's new director of diversity, equity, inclusion, just basic questions about the library and diversity, and had a nice conversation with him in that regard. I guess there's more to come in terms of kind of environmental scan and further discussions with across the city departments in that regard. So we're just getting started with that. So I guess if anybody has any questions.
No questions. It looks like the order is we're going to cover new business and then come back to you, Tim. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay, so we've got a couple of new business items. First is a naming rights policy review. Tim, do you want to walk us through
That's
this?
fine. Yeah, as we've done in previous months, just doing a review of policies that have 3 or more years under the belt without being reviewed, and the naming rights and the outreach policies are part of the packet for this month. In terms of the naming rights, it had a rather thorough going over back in 14 and in 18. It was reviewed again. I guess, I don't suggest any changes. It's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of protections there, a lot of opportunities for folks in terms of naming rights within kind of the parameters of the city and what the library in terms to get things done. So I think it's a healthy policy to have.
Any questions? I had one that was just a curiosity.
Sure.
Where do these naming prices come from? Is that just in alignment?
Originally, they were identified back in as part of the capital campaign for the 3 location project back in between 06 and 09. The original numbers, now those numbers have increased since then, kind of a 2% back in 2014. I guess where I am is, given everything that's happened, unless I want to make them attainable. Maybe we can revisit them if there's a thought on the board's part to revisit those numbers and look at maybe 2% as we did back in 2014 next year or something of that nature. But that's kind of the origins of the numbers.
It looks like a deal, so we got to find some friends.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So is the main library something that can be named or no?
That was I think the idea back in the day, I think that's to stay the main library,
Okay.
unless it's a really extraordinary situation.
Any other questions? So this is an action item. If we have anyone wanting to move to approve.
What motion do we need here to continue?
It is to accept the policy as reviewed.
Okay, so moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, that passes. Moving on to the outreach policy review, and Tim will ask you for help on this one too.
Yeah, and what this is kind of put the parameters around our outreach services that Pam Straight and her staff and the wonderful volunteers do to take our services out to various retirement communities and assisted living agencies and homebound folks. And it's been very helpful. Obviously, Pam does a tremendous job working with the volunteers and getting that done in the proper way. So we're really, I don't see any changes necessary in this regard.
Have I seen this one before?
You may have, back in 18.
Oh, okay.
We've been here a while. Any questions? Okay, this too is an action item, so we are looking for a motion to accept the policy as is.
I'll make a motion to approve as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, hearing none, that passes too, and we'll turn back to you, Tim, for statistical reports.
Yes, per your packet there, you can see the library use overview in terms of attendance. You can see up 17%, August 21 to August 2020. Looking across the board, year-to-date up 32%. I would say, though, in comparison to attendance year-to-date in August of 2019, it's not even close. Significant impacts there. Programming has been strong, both virtual and on-site to a certain degree. Volunteer hours, it's nice. You can see the difference there in a year. It's nice to have the volunteers on site. They're very helpful and wonderful things that they do. Internet sign-up, a little bit weaker than last August. Year-to-date up 6%. Web hits down a little bit from the previous year. In terms of overall circulation, obviously, in comparison to last year is up, though, again, you know, both August of 19 and year-to-date 19, we're still significantly down. One thing I wanted to point out, in your packet, you might have, depending on which one you got, the one that got emailed out, there's a bit of a mistake on the first page of the 2021 circulation. It has youth magazines for Northport, year-to-date at 900 plus, and actually that's only 10. So we corrected that, and just kind of an FYI there. That was a mistake that took place in the June board report, and Betsy caught it. So we wish that many youth magazines went out, but actually year-to-date it's just 10. In regards, though, to follow up in terms of my comments of kind of the comparison of 21 versus 2019, we're looking to meet tomorrow, kind of members of my admin team, to look at kind of a re-engagement plan for the community. Obviously, things are still all up in the air, but I think there's things that we can do. I think there's monies that we have available, and certainly we have the folks that can put together programming, as you well know, that we can kind of jumpstart our profile and get it back up and work, you know, maybe perhaps a form of library card campaign and various other programs. So we're certainly looking at that, and won't take it for granted in terms of people's times and lifestyles that may have been impacted for the last 2 years, and how that might adjust their usage patterns, and certainly want us to be in the front of their minds in regards to us being able to serve them.
Any questions on usage? Tim, we've asked before, how far off of 2019 roughly are you, just in the total number? Like, was it 40,000 or?
I'll bring those numbers next
Okay.
month, so you have actual numbers. I don't want to blur a bunch of stuff off the top of my head, but
Sure.
we'll bring a comparison next month
Okay.
in that regard, so you get hard numbers.
And then one other question about non-print. So like RB Digital and Zinio, are those things that you've gotten rid of? Is that
What
why?
happened was they got bought out by Overdrive. You can see Overdrive is right under the top of where it has non-print, and the first one there is Overdrive. They bought out RB Digital, that was both their ebooks, which is the RB, and then Zinio is like electronic magazines.
Got it.
So they bought, essentially, it's all under essentially Overdrive at this point.
Got it.
It's smaller and got bought out.
Okay, if you want to go to financials too.
Yes. Oh, where am I? Looking at, starting out with 21 donation summary. On the revenue side, the unrestricted donations, you can see we received a bunch of money, folks donating money right at the desk there. And one anonymous $5 monthly donation to $235 total. The other restricted, that was $860 from the donations that we've been receiving in memory of John Miller, which has been great, and that money is going for the needs of the Dr. James Carlson Library. 2,000 of the total there was for from the Friends for the One Book, One Community, so thank you, Friends. On the expenditure side, the $380 was for volunteer T-shirts, excuse me, for the outreach folks from the Dakota Medical Foundation donation, so thank Dakota Medical Foundation for that. Another on the expenditure side is $875, again from the Friends for the One Book, One Community project. And then $435 from the Friends for the Craft or Noon supplies, which we're excited about that. Thank you, Friends. And really important, the August Way to Go staff recognition, again from the Friends. And again, what's good about that is we wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for the Friends, because you can't use operating money in that way. So again, thank you, Friends, for all the very generous gifts to support all library programming. In terms of overall budget, through 67% of the year lapsed, you can see we're just under 65% expended. Starting to identify needs as we go down to the end of the year. Excited about that, but continue to watch the bottom line in that regard. Revenue through the year to date, just under $12,000 in terms of revenue overall for various things. So that's kind of where the financials are.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, moving to the Friends of the Library report.
Have the Friends president here.
Nice.
Perfect. Thank you for having me today. My name is Pat Sinner. I've recently become the Friends Board President. Took over from Mary Beth Hegsted just last month, so still getting my feet under me a little bit. But as far as updates for this month, Tim touched on a lot of what we've been doing this year already with the funding we've produced for the library thus far. Our big action item upcoming is a joint book sale we're putting on for the first time with the Friends of the Moorhead Public Library. So we're kind of excited about that. We're looking into reciprocal benefits for memberships for both organizations, and the timing is around National Friends of the Library Week. So that's going to be held October 7th through the 9th, evening of Thursday through the opening library hours, Friday and Saturday. Friday is going to be a $5 book bag sale. Fill it with whatever you want for $5. Otherwise, as far as our numbers go, I think we track largely with what the library does. We're sort of bound by their opening times anyway, and foot traffic is down like it is anywhere with COVID. But we're still able to sell the books we needed, and we're able to fund the library as the request comes in. And I think we've still been doing a good job of being able to keep that ongoing. So we're excited for that. So everybody who's listening, everybody here today, come out either here or at the Moorhead Public Library for the Friends sale October 7th through the 9th. I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has any. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, turning to public comment. We have Mr. Cohen who wants to provide comments. What are we looking at here, Tim? Is this timer
Yeah.
Okay, so you have 2.5 minutes.
I'm Christopher Cohn, president of Fargo. So to start with, Scott, I did ask to meet with you, and Mr. Dirks told me that you refused to meet with me. Now, I don't know if you dislike me for some reason because I bring concerns here to the controversial concerns here before the board. Maybe you don't like that, but it doesn't really matter who you like and who you don't. And in terms of public relations as a skill, I think you really should meet with anybody because it does soften relations when you meet the person face to face and talk with them, get to know them. And we both would like each other better just automatically when you get to know each other. And really, I'm a nice guy, actually. And it's a lot different than when you just hear me up here complaining than when you get to know me. So think about that. But what I was going to talk about today is, after the director in March said that he's going to keep some books forever until they fall apart, which is against policy. Policy has 11 different deselection criteria, only one of which is when they fall apart. I did in May request to see a list on the last 12 months of all the children's picture books that were deselected as for being outdated or having inaccurate information. And Greg Schilberger, the director of communications who handles the open records requests, wrote back in the email and he said, he quoted a library employee who said, quote, "It is worth noting that we do not record the reason for deselection as the request specifies. We delete tens of thousands of items in a year, and it is simply not feasible to record the reason for deleting each item." No, that doesn't make any sense. You know how easy it would be to record the item? You would have an electronic form with a check mark for each of the 11 reasons. And after the person decides the reason, which takes the time, then you simply make a check mark on the record. And it goes into the computer and it's recorded there. That's how easy it would be to check, bing, and it's done. You just create one electronic form. So currently, we have no way to know why any material is deleted under the policy. That needs to change, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, and I think that concludes our meeting. Next regular meeting's October 19th, and we are adjourned.